retirement can be complicated, and today's uncertainty can add to the confusion.
How do I know if I have enough money to last retirement?
Do I have to file taxes when I retire?
How can I maximize the amount of money I get when I retire?
Is there a right or wrong way to file for Social Security?
Can I leave money for my children without going through probate?
We are all unique, and your retirement plan should be just as unique. We have the experience and knowledge to help you make the right choices, giving you more time for what really matters most. Thank you for joining us on Retirement Now with your host, April Roberts.
And welcome to Retirement Now with April Roberts. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by April Roberts. And April is the CEO of Roberts Wealth Management. April, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Cynthia?
I am doing great as well. Thank you so much for asking. I always look forward to our shows together because, again, the information is just so amazing that you provide the viewing audience. The viewer questions that have been coming in have been really incredible. In fact, we have a ton to get through today. But first of all, let me start with this. How's life in the office?
Crazy.
Yes, I know.
We are definitely busy, but you know, that's why I'm excited to be here, Cynthia. We love meeting with new potential clients. We love helping people, and our calendar has been so full that being here with you and having, you know, this offer for the first 10 callers to sit down with us is really exciting. So I'm really happy to help some new potential clients.
Absolutely, and much to that same point that you just made, we actually had the 10 spots available last week, as you know, and we had callers that called in after and said that they were sorry that they missed those first 10, but they asked if they could be on the queue for the first spots this week.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible. And a great thing is we do a live monthly chat, so people can always join us there. Go to our website and the dates will be posted. And then, you know, we'd love to see you.
Absolutely. So April, a lot of the people that have called in, they've mentioned that they're so impressed with just the passion that you have for helping others. Let's recap a little bit where that passion comes from and a little history about the company, if you will.
Yeah, so I like to joke that my dad tricked me into being in the business. So I was a lawyer in a past life and actually an English teacher too. That's a whole nother story, my Italian housewife story. We'll talk about that another time. But life changed. I went through a divorce and, you know, I really got introduced to what my dad did, which is what I'm doing now, in 2008. And so I loved the fact that my dad's clients loved coming into the office to see him. You have to remember, I was a litigator, so my clients kind of cringed when I called them as a lawyer, right? So, you know, being a retirement planner and helping people get ready for retirement, you get so involved with their family and their lives, and you get to be proactive and empower them to make good decisions for the future. So I just love it.
Absolutely. Well, you can tell, it shows, and everyone that has been able to come in to meet with you and to meet with your team, they said that they feel like you are completely focused on them. Like there's nothing else going on in your life, that you're making them feel like they're your only client.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that because that's a goal of ours. I mean, time is valuable. We're all busy today, and you know, no one loves driving around Houston. Everyone's busy in the city if you live in the suburbs or downtown. So we just think when people take the time and it's important to them, our team always says, if you show up, we show up. So you're going to get 150%.
I love that. Well, April, as I mentioned, we have had a ton of viewer questions come in. So if you don't mind, let's spend some time today trying to address some of those. Is that okay?
Perfect. Let's dive in.
Excellent. We have a caller, Kyle from Conroe. April, for the first time in my life, I feel afraid. With all of the uncertainty in our country, how can I make sure that I'm taking care of my family, continue to save for retirement? I'm aware that statistically I will pass away before my wife. My primary concern is making sure that my family doesn't have a reduced quality of life in the event if this happens. April, what kind of guidance can you give me?
So Kyle sounds like he has a lot on his mind, and we hear this every meeting these days. So obviously a lot's spinning. A big part of our job is to slow people down, focus on what's important to them and what they want their money to do for them, and then show them what it's currently doing and what it can do. So by breaking it down to these like actionable, digestible parts over 1 to 2 meetings, it really helps people get clarity and breathe, and then they can make the best decision for themselves and their families.
Thank you, April. That was an excellent answer. This is a great question. This is from Becky, and Becky calls in from the Heights. April, I'm starting to plan for retirement. I want to make sure that my standard of living doesn't change and that when this pandemic is over, I can travel to see my family. What are the most important factors for me to consider? Please help. And by the way, I love your show.
Oh, well, thank you, Becky. And I am right there with you. I'm ready to travel as well. So let's get the plan in place. But, again, this is what we hear quite often. A number one concern for people is they've done everything they're supposed to. They're hardworking Americans. They've saved money. They put their kids through college. They paid off their house. And now they don't know what to do. It's almost like a deer in headlights going into retirement. Where's my money coming from? How do I make this money last? And that's what my team and I do every day. I am a lover of travel. So when clients want to travel, that is a separate line item in their plan because we want to make sure to protect that budget for them.
Absolutely. April, that was an excellent answer. Thank you so much. This is a great question, too. It says, April, I got laid off at the beginning of COVID, and then my company went under. I am 61, and I was not planning on retiring yet, but I'm having a hard time finding another job. April, how can I tell if I can retire?
So it sounds like this caller needs to come in and get what we call our worst case scenario. So if they do not go back to work with the assets they've saved and what they have in place, here's what it looks like. And here's the tweaks or the overhaul that we would do so that they would be able to retire now. And we kind of call that your worst case scenario because it sounds like this caller really does want to go back to work. So that way it opens their options. They know, you know what, I'm going to be okay if it doesn't happen. Maybe my plan looks a little different than I imagined, but it's going to be okay. And then if I get to go back to work, we just get to rework the plan. No big deal.
Excellent. Thank you so much. April, this is a great one too. It says, April, I am not thrilled with my current advisor. How important is it for me to have a second opinion, and will it be from you?
Good question. I think everyone should always get a second opinion. And in fact, if they aren't a fan of their current advisor, definitely get a second opinion. I always like to ask people when they come in and have an advisor, hey, what does your advisor do really well that you like? Because obviously we want to hear those. And then, what could they do better? Because that's very telling about what your potential client wants. When someone's sitting, if you're sitting down with me, I want to know what you want, what's going to make you happy. So yes, my team and I would love to sit down with you and see what kind of track you're on. And as far as meeting with me, maybe. So there's 3 advisors in our office. It's me, my dad, and Alex. And, I promise you, my dad trained me, I trained Alex. You're going to get the same kind of attention no matter who you sit down with. So it really depends on the calendar and what's going on.
This is obviously a fan of yours. I love that. Well, it's great time for us right now, April, to open up the phone lines. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. To the viewers at home, there's a phone number for you to call on your screen. That number to call is 713-999-4499. What you're calling in for today is a complimentary portfolio review. Let April and her team take a look at what you currently have in place. Does your portfolio need to be tweaked at all? Is it going to be okay for any changes that may come in the year ahead? April and her team can tell you if you are on the right path for retirement. Again, this is for the first-time callers only. The number to call is 713-999-4499. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? And who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to Retirement Now with April Roberts. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by April Roberts, and she is the CEO of Roberts Wealth Management. April, obviously going to the phone lines, I was watching them light up, and I know that we have probably well over 10 callers already this week. How are you going to handle the overflow?
Well, Cynthia, thank you for that question. You know, a lot of people ask, why are you limiting it? But as I shared with you, when someone shows up in our office, their time's valuable and we want to show up for them. So what we never want to do is overwhelm ourselves so that we can't give the time and attention to everyone who wants our help. So there are multiple other ways. If people don't get in the first 10, you know, they could follow us on social media. They could go to our website and sign up for our monthly webinars. People really love those. And just get engaged with us. And you know, we'd love to see them in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. I know people were wondering, like, what if I can't get in? What am I going to do? Next question, are you ready? I know you have no idea what's coming. We have a caller that actually called in from Katie. She says, April, I'm 55 years old and I've been with the same company for about 15 years. I've always had a 401k and I'm taking advantage of the match. Now the company is offering me a Roth 401k. Should I be contributing to that as well? And are there any disadvantages?
Yeah, so as I say often, and you'll make fun of me for being a trained lawyer, it depends. And it depends because, you know, some people it's more advantageous to take the tax advantage now. For others, it's better to take it later. So if they're contributing to the traditional 401k, they get the tax discount now, right? If they put it in the Roth, they get the tax discount later. So that's the beauty of having a plan, Cynthia. You can see which one ends up with the best scenario for your family.
Thank you, April. That makes perfect sense. We also have a caller that called in from Sugar Land, and it says, April, how do I roll over a simple IRA to a Roth IRA?
Yeah, so same as a normal IRA, they're going to owe taxes, and you know what they'd want to do is talk to someone. Our team's happy to chat with them, but they want to do an analysis to see how much it's going to cost them in taxes. And when you do a conversion, it creates other issues. So if they're over 65, it might create a higher cost for Medicare. You know, they may pay more for capital gains. So you really want to go into a Roth conversion with your eyes wide open. Work with someone who's going to help show you the pros and cons so you can make the best decision.
Okay, thank you so much. We also have a caller that called in from Sugar Land again, and we've got another one. This is a great one. It says, should I move my IRA away from a place that charges a 2.5% fee? That seems high to me, and I'm not sure how to tell if I'm getting my money's worth. I'm planning to retire in 3 years, April, at age 67.
So that seems on the high side to me, but I don't want to judge because I don't know what they're getting for the 2.5%. So what we really want to do is do that full portfolio review that shows them what they're paying and what they're getting for it. And also if what they're getting is in alignment with their values, their purpose, and their overall plan.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. This is a great question too. I love this. This is from Missouri City. Jeannie and Tim from Missouri City ask, April, we are so concerned that the market may take a downturn like it did last year. How can we make sure that we are positioned well if the market goes up or if the market goes down? We're at a point in saving for retirement where we no longer have an appetite for the volatility. We feel as if we've won the game. Is there any reason for us to really keep playing?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is people focus on if the market goes up and the market goes down, and there are lots of gradations in between. So what's really important is it's the beginning of the year, Cynthia, and predictions are famous this time of year. And I think that probably someone last year said in 2020 they thought the market would go up over 15%, and they were correct. But I guarantee you they did not know it was going to go down 34% and up exponentially to get there, right? So
Right.
what's really important right now is looking at things in 1 to 2 month increments and make sure that your advisor and your management team have tools in place. So if the market goes down, they should have a plan. If the market goes up, they should have a plan. And if it changes, because sometimes it just changes what you want to be invested in, but the overall trend is positive. So really, ask whoever you're working with who's managing your money, what is their plan for when the market goes up? What's their plan for when it goes down? And what's their plan for when it changes? And if they don't have one, give us a call because we have plans for all 3 scenarios.
Okay, that's an excellent answer. Thank you so much. We have a caller actually that called in from Richmond as well, and they're asking, April, I am 10 years away from retirement. I do not have a retirement plan in place. What are my first steps? Can you help me along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, again, Cynthia, what we do day in, day out. We work plans, and from the plan, we reverse engineer how to invest the assets. So a lot of times advisors lead with, oh, I have this great mutual fund, or you should be invested in this index, or take a look at this annuity. Well, they all might be great, but are they right for you? So if we start with the plan, we back into, okay, you need some income. Let's take a look at an annuity. You need growth. Let's take a look at a more growth investment. So really it's different for everyone. So it's very important that they work with someone that they feel comfortable with and they feel is listening to them.
Okay, thank you so much. We have a caller from Katie. She wants to know, April, I'm confused about bonds. Do they have a place in my portfolio?
Again, it depends. We're looking at 1 to 2 month rates. Right now, this month, bonds don't look so great, right?
Right.
So again, I think the time has passed to own something and hold it forever. I mean, we personally believe in tactical management in the growth bucket. Remember, we want to have an income bucket, which is very boring. The income just shows up every month. That's kind of cool when you're retired, right?
Right.
And then we have the growth bucket. And so the growth bucket is where we get to design what's psychologically correct with you, but link that to, what's working right now. What's the economy calling for?
Okay, thank you so much. That was an excellent answer. We actually have another caller from the Woodlands, and they would like to know, April, I'm confused. I am literally 5 years away from retirement. I have been told to eliminate all debt before I officially retire. What is your thought on that? All debt, eliminate.
So I found that people enter retirement with confidence when they get rid of debt. The challenge is in that 5-year period, how much do you have to sacrifice? I mean, I don't want you eating bologna sandwiches if you don't like bologna sandwiches just to pay down your debt. So
Right.
we help clients with this as well. If they're retiring with or still have debt, we do a plan. And sometimes I extend the period for my clients to pay down their debt just because the bottom line is you want to maintain your quality of life. And if we don't have to cut it too severely to pay off the debt, that makes sense. And a lot of times, Cynthia, they retire and they're like, oh, let me take this money out of my 401k to pay my debt. Well, you're paying taxes on that money. So let's just breathe and maybe we do it over a couple of year period. But we help clients with that all the time.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, this is the perfect time for us to reopen up the phone line to the viewers at home. Would you agree?
Yes.
To the viewers at home, the phone number on your screen is the one to call today. That number is 713-999-4499. We know you have a lot of questions about how to retire comfortably and with peace of mind. Rachel is offering a complimentary consultation, or April rather, did I say Rachel? April is offering a complimentary consultation today to the first 10 callers only, and all you have to do is pick up the phone and call. That number is 713-999-4499. And again, it's a complimentary consultation as well as portfolio review, so they can take a look at what you currently have in place, April and her entire team, and make sure it's the right plan for you. Again, 713-999-4499. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Retirement Now with April Roberts. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by April Roberts. She's the CEO of Roberts Wealth Management. And again, April, an amazing show that we're having today. And obviously we know that because the phone lines are lighting up like crazy. Let's talk a little bit about what makes you unique and different, obviously, because you hold your clients' hands every step of the way. Let's talk about how important it is to have an advocate on your side as you're approaching retirement through all phases.
Yeah, and to be clear, Cynthia, I'm not walking into other advisors' offices. I just hear this from clients that often they're confused. And, you know, often you ask me, why don't people start retirement planning sooner? And I think they think it's just going to be more difficult or they're not sure what to do. So it really takes the courage to take that first step, have a discovery meeting with us, let us analyze where you stand and where we need to go. And, you know, at the beginning, it's just an overall, I call it the magic wand plan. If we could move everything tomorrow, here's what we do. Well, often we can't move everything tomorrow. Maybe they're under 59 and a half and still working, so their 401k stays in place. After that is when my team and I go to work helping get all the parts in place. So if they have a 401k, we're going to call their 401k with them. If they have to transfer money to us, we're going to take care of that and keep them in the loop. And I think that, you know, the other week I had someone share with me, wow, this was a lot easier than I thought. So I'm not sure what they imagine, but it's really our goal to, like you said, hold their hand throughout the process and make sure that our clients are able to focus on making the best decisions for themselves.
Well, I think it's incredible when we hear the amount of people that did not hear from their advisors during 2020 when the market took that drastic dip. In your opinion, April, is that a red flag?
Well, number one, I really hope that's not true. I know you hear it, so I believe you. But I just can't imagine that. I mean, 2020 was a time to double down and communicate with your clients more. And, you know, at first my team was like, April, do we? And I was like, yes, we have to do this. And then they got more passionate about it than I do.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they had me sending out weekly videos to the clients now. So I just walk in and the camera's set up. And Tancella's like, get behind the camera. You need to talk to the clients. So it's really cute. And we do our monthly chat and we visit with them on a set basis. But I can't imagine that, Cynthia, so I can't answer it because it was really a time. I think that if you feel like you're not being heard, then you should probably go talk to someone else and see if the grass is greener. Again, you know, we'd love to talk to them. They can tune into our monthly chat and get a feel for how we chat with our clients and keep them informed. But definitely, yeah, I would venture out if you feel unheard.
And I think that's something that we're hearing so often is that people feel like they really are not being heard. And that's why I think it sets you apart so well, because you definitely take the time and it shows. So we have time for a couple other viewer questions. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes.
This is a great question, actually, and it came in from, let me make sure I have the city right. Okay, we've got Richmond again. I was advised to roll my 401k plan from a previous employer into a traditional IRA, which I did. I haven't made any contributions to it since rolling it over, and it's grown very little. I have a 401k with my new employer. Should I roll my traditional IRA into my new 401k account? I would appreciate any advice you can give me.
Well, as we talked about before, we need to see what their current 401k looks like to advise them. And usually it's telling them pros and cons of that move versus rolling it into an IRA. But for the most part, I feel that keeping it in an IRA where you have more options and control is usually better. But it really depends on the client and what their goals are. So it's definitely worth a sit down. Let's take a look at your IRA. Let's take a look at your 401k. Let's get to the bottom of why it's not growing and see what you're paying for it.
Okay, thank you so much. This is a caller from Katie. It says, I'm turning 70 in November. When will I be required to make my first RMD, and can I avoid taking the initial withdrawal and the second withdrawal in the same year?
Yeah, so now it has changed to age 72.
Okay.
And so basically, if you postpone, because you have a little grace period there, you could end up having to take 2 in 1 year. So again, based on when our client's birthday falls, we usually walk them through that. I try to avoid them taking 2 in 1 year. There are exceptions. I mean, we've heard a lot about people getting packages from their company. Well, they might have had excess income this year and they don't want to take their RMD this year. So it's really important to look at it from an investment perspective and a tax perspective and look at your options.
Okay, thank you so much. We have a caller from Katie. My wife has been retired from the workforce for 8 years, and the two of us have approximately $750,000 in assets, and we have no debt. Our combined Social Security benefits today would be more than adequate to sustain our current lifestyle. Is there any point in waiting an additional 3 years to retire at full retirement age if I can comfortably live off Social Security benefits now?
Well, first of all, Cynthia, kudos to this caller that they can live off Social Security benefits. They have done things well and paid things off.
Yes,
so,
yes.
you know, but life changes. Who knows if your expenses go up? And that's why it's important to run a plan showing inflation and increasing expenses, because Social Security may cut it this year and they decide to retire, but 5, 10, 15 years down the road, does it still cut it? And how do we position the $750,000 that they've saved? Do they need potential additional income down the road? Do they need survivorship income, as we call it? If one of them passed away, they lose a Social Security check. So the cool thing about a plan that I say over and over is once we have it in place, we can run different scenarios based on what they're worried about and give them a good answer.
Absolutely. Well, April, we only have about 1 minute and 15 seconds left of the show again this week. What final piece of advice do you have for the viewers at home for 2021?
So going into 2021, I know there's a lot of uncertainty and people are concerned about what to do and to protect themselves and their family. You know, we're not vacationing now, most of us aren't. We have a little extra time. So maybe use that time to get your finances in order. We have some great tools on our website, a budget worksheet, an asset inventory. If you're coming to visit us or not, it could be a great tool. But definitely take a look at that, start getting your ducks in a row, and call us, sit down, get that second opinion and make sure that you're in place and ready for whatever's coming. You can reach us at 713-999-4499. Again, the first 10 callers. And if for some reason you're not one of the first 10 callers, connect with us. We'd love to see you in the future.
April, thank you again for another amazing show this week. To the viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us. The number to call is 713-999-4499. Thank you for watching. Keep the questions coming. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed.